Hey, this is JT. Welcome to Bodyweight Strength. In this video, we're going to be continuing our rings progressions with wide ring dips, or what are sometimes called Bulgarian ring dips. Now, by popular request, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the movement so you can check out what it looks like from more than one angle. And then after I show you the demonstration, I'll come back and talk about the finer points and the things that you need to keep in mind to make sure you perform the movement safely and effectively. So let's get to it. Now, the wide ring dip is pretty straightforward, and what you may have noticed in that demonstration is that the arms are out at essentially a 90-degree angle. And that's what you're shooting for, is to have the arms parallel to the ground when your toes are just off of the ground. And the easiest way I found to make sure you're in the right position, and I mentioned this in the regular ring dip tutorial, is to adjust your rings so that the bottom of the ring is just below the bottom of your pec. And basically when you take your hand, the ring and your hand are right in the pocket here under the arm. So that's what you're shooting for. And when I do Bulgarian ring dips, wide ring dips, what I do is I generally start with arms out in the starting position, which again is that 90-degree angle. And what you're doing is internal rotation of the shoulders. So you're pressing down straight through the rings, and from the side, you're not going to be able to get to where your elbow is perfectly in line with the shoulder. It's going to be back a little bit, but what you're trying to avoid is a 45-degree angle or having it back too much. And the main reason is that eventually, over enough time, not soon, but this will help you eventually build into an iron cross. And so when you get into eventually doing iron cross training, you're not going to have your arm at 45-degree angle. It's going to eventually be straight out. And so that's why you want to have that position when you're doing the Bulgarian dips. Whereas your standard ring dips, you are preparing for eventually doing a ring muscle up, and so you need to bring that ring back up into the armpit and have that shoulder extension so that you can get the transition in the ring muscle up. And so standard dips building to ring muscle up, Bulgarian dips building to eventually doing an iron cross, which I don't have yet, but I'm working on. It's super hard, but with that said, you're gonna start in this position, and what you'll notice is as you come down to the bottom position, your forearm is going to push up against the straps, and those straps in the top of the ring are going to give some support to the forearm. So that's what you're looking for in that starting position. You're going to have your elbow almost in line with the shoulder, and then you're going to be here. Keep your head up, eyes forward, and then press down, and then smoothly into the external rotation of the wrists. And then as you lower, back down into internal rotation, and that elbow, that forearm will press against the ring and the strap like I mentioned. And so it's a pretty straightforward movement. If you have compromised shoulder mobility, it might be difficult, but by this point, having gone through your support position and then into your standard ring dips, and now moving on to your wide or Bulgarian ring dips, your strength through that little progression should be adequate for you to perform these. If you don't have rings, or when you first try to make this transition from a standard ring dip to the wide ring dip, you can also use a traditional dip station, which I have inside the house. And so I'm gonna attach a clip of me performing some wide or Bulgarian ring dips on the dip station. They are quite a bit easier on a dip station. So if this is too hard, watch this next clip and I'll demonstrate it on a dip station. Okay, so that should give you some idea of how you can use a standard dip station like you would find at a commercial gym, or if you have a dip attachment like I have, or you could use the backs of evenly height chairs. You could use just about anything that's sturdy and safe. So if you're training at home and the ring dips are a little bit too difficult for you, you might use a little ingenuity, grab some chairs or whatever. Like I mentioned, as long as they're safe, as long as they're stable. The thing to remember when you get on the rings and you're doing these Bulgarian or wide ring dips is you're starting with internal rotation, and then in a nice smooth fluid movement you're going into external rotation into the support position with rings turned out. What you will find is however many ring dips you can perform, once you move over to these wide ring dips or Bulgarian ring dips, it will be less. It's a higher intensity movement. You will wear out more quickly. So it's the next logical progression with regards to ring dips. Some people will add weight to their ring dips and just start weighting their dips. And that's another way that you can overload, and that's perfectly fine. But the thing is, that's never going to get you to an iron cross, where this particular movement is going to help you start to build more strength with the arms out in that 90-degree position, and then help you build the base stability to start iron cross training. So that's the biggest reason why I moved to these, and I'm not doing weighted dips, although weighted dips are a perfectly viable option. If you have questions, ask in the comments below. I will answer them as quickly as possible. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I super appreciate it. And thank you for all your support, and I'll see you in the next video.